Hello students, this is Mrs. Jones. We are going to continue our conversation about yield percent and how it's used in the kitchen. If you remember last week I did an example about an apple and I was peeling the apple. The part that we were going to use in the recipe was called the edible portion quantity. The apple as it was when we purchased it was called the as purchased quantity, and the yield percentage was the percent of the apple that was usable. So if we bought a pound of apples, we're not actually going to have a pound of usable apples. We're going to be cutting and coring those and peeling them. So the edible portion would always be less than the as purchased, and that's where the yield percentage came in. Any place that you professionally order from is going to give a chart like this, an approximate yield of fruit and vegetables chart. And what this says is that for their apples, that 76% of their apples are going to be usable. Now, the age of the apple, the tool that you use to peel it or cut it, the skill of the employee, that yield percentage might fluctuate a little bit, but generally from this company they say 76% of the apple is usable. If you look at something like mushrooms is really high, and that should make sense because you can use a lot of the mushroom, almost all of it. Something like cantaloupe would be really low because you don't use any of the rind. We cut all that piece off. So what I would like to do with you today is try to expand a little bit on that yield percentage and put it into different scenarios that are not all just cookie cutter scenarios. They're not all done the same. To review first, our formula for yield percent is 100, and the yield percent is over 100, and it's the EPQ divided by the APQ. And again, EPQ is the edible portion quantity. It's what's going into the recipe. The APQ is how it is when you purchased it. Okay? So looking at the first example here, it says you need 250 5-ounce portions of fresh pineapple. That means that you have 250 people that you're catering for, and each person is going to get a 5-ounce portion of pineapple. The question is, how many pineapples should you purchase? So let's kind of try to set this formula up a little bit. 100. If we go back and look at pineapples are 52%, and that 4 pounds each, that's going to come into play a little bit later. But we would put the 52 over top here. And then the only other thing we know is that we need 250 5-ounce portions of pineapple that we're going to serve to people, so that would be part of the edible portion. But we need 250 5-ounce portions. So we would need a total of 1,250 ounces to feed to our people. So for feeding it to our people, again, that would be the edible portion. Try to make that a 2. The APQ, how much we're going to purchase, we don't know. So in order to solve something like this, we would cross multiply and divide it. Divided by 52. And when you deal with product, you always run a round product up. So our APQ is going to be equal to 2,404 ounces. And it's ounces because our other measurement was also in ounces. Does that answer our question though? our question says, how many pineapples should you purchase? I hope that you would not purchase 2,404 pineapples. That's a lot of pineapples. So what we need to do is go back to the chart there, and we read, I said that 4 pounds each would come into play here later on. So that means from this particular company, they are saying that each pineapple weighs approximately 4 pounds. Does anybody have an idea of what we need to do with that 4 pounds? You're right, we need to turn it into ounces. How you turn it into ounces is by multiplying it by 16. So that means each pineapple weighs approximately 64 ounces. So from from that point, you could take your 2,404 and divide it by 64. And you get 37.5625. But you can't order part of a pineapple, so you would always, no matter what the rules for rounding say, you would always round it up. So in this case, you would order 38 pineapples. All right, so let's look at the next problem here. You have a case of green cabbage. Each case contains 15 cabbages. So we only have one case, so that means we have 15 cabbages. If you want to provide a 2.5 ounce serving, how many servings can you expect to get out of the case? So let's try to start setting up the formula first. And we're dealing with cabbage, so we're going to go look at the percentage. The yield percent for cabbage is 79, and it tells us that it's 2.5 pounds each. So I'm going to put in the 79, and each one's 2.5 pounds. All right. So as far as the EPQ or the APQ, the only thing that we really know is that we have 15 cabbages. They're sitting in front of us. So, and each one weighs 2.25 or 2.5 pounds. So if we take 2.5 times 15, we get 37.5 pounds. And that's sitting in front of us. That's before we've cut them up or anything like that. So that is the as purchased quantity. In this problem, the EPQ is the part that we don't know. So to solve this, we're going to cross multiply and then divide. And I get 29.625. And I'm always told to round up, so we can say that the EPQ is 30 pounds. And it's pounds because our other measurement was also in pounds. Does that answer the question, though? The question says, if you want to provide 2.5 ounce servings, how many servings could you expect? So what I think that you might need to do is convert this pounds into ounces by multiplying it by 16. So that means that we have usable cabbage, 480 ounces of usable cabbage that is sitting in front of us, and we need to cut it into 2.5. Oh no, yeah, 2.5 ounce, sorry, right there, 2.5 ounce servings. So we take 480 divided by 2.5 ounces. That means that we will get 192 portions of cabbage out of those 15 cabbages. All right, let's look at the last one, but I don't want to go too long with our video today. How many coconut pies can be made from 25 coconuts? Coconuts is a funny word. Coconuts. We set up the formula here and look at what we know about coconuts. Coconuts are 26 ounces each, and the yield percent is 53. So 26 ounces each. I'm going to write this over here. Yay, each. And the yield percent was 53. So we have 25 coconuts, and each coconut is going to weigh 26 ounces. So if we multiply this by 26, 25 and 26, we get 650 ounces. And that's the APQ. Those are what we have before we start cutting into them. 650 ounces. The EPQ is the part that we don't know. So we need to take 53 times 650 divided by 100 gives us an EPQ of 344.5, and these are ounces because our other measurements were in ounces. Now, does that answer the question? The question was, how many coconut pies could we make? We cannot make 344 coconut pies. Each pie contains 1 pound, 6 ounces. So if you do a little bit of conversion there, 1 pound is 16 ounces, plus the 6 would be 22 ounces. There's 22 ounces of coconut in each pie. So if we divide this by 22, that's going to tell us how many coconut pies we would be able to make. The answer is, what the calculator gives us is 15.65 blah 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 blah. Can you make part of a pie? No. The rules for rounding tell you to round that up. Would you have enough to make 16 pies? No. When you talk about how many portions you have or how many pies you can make, you're always going to round down. You can only make 15 pies out of those 25 coconuts. All right. I hope this kind of helps you understand a little bit more about yield percentage and gets you into some more intense situations and scenarios. So go ahead and answer the questions on the Google quiz. Make sure you hit submit. If you have any questions, please contact me by email, cjones@ictc.edu. All right, I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.